So on Thursday, I had another 1P-LSD trip, and this was using the micro pellets again, and the dose was just 150 micrograms again. Um, I ended up looking at the dose recommendation for LSD, and apparently 150 kind of sits along the strong range, so that's probably why I've been noticing that the trips have been pretty powerful, and, at least compared to traditional LSD. I'm assuming that whatever I was taking in terms of like tabs or whatever for LSD were not dosed right, because I think people usually say they're around like 100 micrograms per tab, but I'm assuming that it's less than that. So that's probably the reason why it seems so powerful, is just because it's more legit, because it comes from like a legit vendor. Um, so in this trip, I kind of had the plan that I was gonna probably try to smoke DMT if I was not really satisfied with the visuals, because my sorry my intent was to take it so that I can have study the cool side visuals in silent darkness, so that I can try to basically make more visionary art based on the like form constants that I'm seeing. But I've been finding that it's kind of a crapshoot for LSD or 1P-LSD in terms of getting good visionary states and good patterning to really get a good inspiration from. I find that if I'm taking like 4-ACO DMT or doing DMT specifically, there's a lot more strong geometry that I'm seeing in the patterning that I just have trouble to sort of unlock with LSD. LSD is more, at least for me, it seems to produce more organic hallucinations or visionary states that are not as really mathematical and fractal and geometry-esque. It's a little more natural and human in a way. So this time the experience was a lot less challenging in terms of the mental difficulty. I think it's because I'm just getting more or a little bit used to or have kind of developed a strategy not to get myself into sort of fearful states, and this could have to do with practicing certain no mind techniques, where you kind of stop your mind from thinking any thoughts that can kind of spiral you into negative states of mind. And I think in the biggest sort of sense, it's me just being more accustomed to the experience, and I'm actually feeling more confident that I can do heavier experiences like 4-ACO DMT and even DMT without experiencing much fear. I'm actually planning on doing DMT pretty soon, because I do want to do it because I kind of miss the really profound geometry that I see with that experience. It's kind of a step above everything else, so I just feel like I really want to get back into it, because it's been so long, and I just want to see it again. I don't want to be sort of afraid to step into it again, because there's just too much value there to really sort of shy away from. And so anyways, back to the trip. As I said, like, the visuals weren't as geometric, but there was a point in the trip where I felt like my room was getting almost haunted, or it was as if my brain was, or my mind was creating demons in the shadows or whatever, and I actually thought that, these things would actually start getting more intense and try to scare me or attack me. It was a weird sensation. I could actually see weird dark figures kind of coming out of the shadows a little bit, but it was kind of that thing where you can sort of half see it, and then half of it's just your imagination or over imagination, or just you kind of manifesting visuals that might not actually be there. So I think it was more of a mental state than actual visual state, but it was just a strong mental state where I was able to almost actually will these dark figures that were trying to scare me into existence. But I quickly just kind of switched my attention away from that stuff and didn't really focus on it. I feel like the more that you sort of give that attention and give it energy, I think that it comes alive more, and that's kind of how psychedelics work. Really, is the more sort of thought you give to something, the more it kind of builds it and draws you into it. That's why I think that no mind techniques are really important, or just techniques to really distract yourself from engaging with the certain thoughts that make the trip difficult. But it's not to say that that can always work, because sometimes you're having a really extreme experience where pretty much nothing is going to I guess, distract you from what's going on. But it can really help in most experiences, I think. So that's definitely a technique that I really want to, keep practicing and really take to heart, because it does serve me in a lot of the scenarios. But yeah, so I ended up trying to smoke DMT, and I think it was a little bit after the peak, but I found a batch that I had that was, it looked pure, but it was around for a long time, so I'm assuming that maybe it lost potency, because I tried smoking it, and maybe it wasn't enough, but I didn't really get much of an effect from it. Usually when I smoke DMT on LSD, it gets really tribal and really actually kind of terrifying a little bit. It gets really dark and tribal in a way that it's kind of like Mayan, but kind of really, there's sort of this ancient feel to it, but it's like an ancient dark feel. And I can't really put my finger on how to explain it, but that's always been my experience with it. And it usually didn't take much. I would usually smoke like maybe 18 or 20 milligrams, and then I would have like a very serious, tribal aspect to the trip. But this time I didn't really get any effects. I was a bit disappointed on that end, but all in all, I think just having the LSD trip alone was pretty beneficial. It's giving me a lot more just practice being in psychedelic states, and so that I can sort of start reaching for higher states, especially with DMT and 4-ACO DMT. I'm actually pretty looking forward to having a nice DMT trip and possibly a breakthrough, just to really try to examine the geometry that I see, because I really want to start making some more art, and I feel like it's going to be something really beneficial towards that pursuit. So that's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to report. I think the next trip that I'm going to have is DMT, so look out for that report. And just to let you guys know, I finally got my piano set up. I got the movers to get everything ready, and now I finally have a baby grand piano to practice on. So it's definitely something that I really needed, because I couldn't get by with just practicing on electronic pianos only. It just wasn't cutting it. But yeah, I'll show you guys a little bit of a sample of me playing a little bit of La Campanella on it. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for the next DMT trip video that I make. So see you guys later. Peace out.